I got married as a grown-up woman. My husband was a little younger than me, but we were fine with that. But our married life was not calm and stable. A month after the wedding, we started to quarrel over various trifles. Sometimes I even went to my mother's house and lived there for a week or even a month. There were times when we just forgot what we were fighting about.
Back then, I wasn't picky about my sexual needs. I never even thought of cheating on my husband, and I can't say anything about him. I never followed him, and he never gave me a reason to. In general, I didn't notice anything suspicious about him. When I cooled down a little after a fight, I'd go back to my husband. And everything was fine again. For a month or two at the most, we'd have feelings, passionate love. And then all the quarrels would start all over again. And in such a rhythm our life lasted 3 years. During this time we gave birth to a daughter, but, alas, and she could not calm us down.
I can't explain it, but something happened to me. My daughter was at her grandmother's house. Because of our quarrels, she often went there. We just had a little fight with my husband, and I decided to go to a friend's house. I bought a bottle of wine, a cake, so we sit, drink, talk about all sorts of nonsense. And then I realized that I really want a man. It was the first time I've ever felt this way. I was even a little surprised at my desire. And it was getting stronger by the minute.
A friend called her good neighbor, who came with a bottle of whiskey. So, we got to the cognac, and I couldn't take it anymore. In my head I was only thinking about men. I couldn't think about anything else. I just didn't understand what the girls were talking about. I wanted sex so badly.
I couldn't take it anymore, and after saying goodbye to the girls, I ran out of the apartment and into the street. My head was a mess. My face was burning. And then a thought came into my head, dialing the number of my old acquaintance. I knew he didn't have his wife home right now. I don't remember what I said to him on the phone. I only remember how I ended up at his apartment. I didn't think about anything at that moment, not about my daughter, and certainly not about my husband. It was an unforgettable night of love. I didn't realize that I was capable of such things, that I had so much fire and passion in me. We were tireless. We fondled each other all night. We took small breaks to drink wine, smoke a cigarette. The next morning, I looked at my phone and saw a bunch of missed calls from my husband. When I came to after a cold shower, I started to realize what was happening. I had a bit of a shock. I was with a man I never even liked. My husband was much prettier than him, and much more interesting intellectually. I was surprised by the fact that I had never had this kind of desire before. By nature, I am a person who sleeps only with the man I love.
At first I thought that it was an evil joke of the girls who had slipped me something, but I immediately dismissed this thought from my mind because I had the desire before we started drinking or eating. A day later we reconciled with my husband, and with that man I tried not to communicate or even see him anymore.
For some reason, I was disgusted. Although he repeatedly hinted to me to continue communicating in the same spirit. No one knew about this case, and I myself tried to forget it as a terrible dream. Having reconciled with my husband, we all went back to normal. As before, we fought, broke up, then reconciled, and there came a period of unrestrained love. It's been several years since that incident. And unfortunately, that wasn't the only time I cheated on my husband. I know it's bad, but now every time he and I have a fight and I go to my mother's house, I go to one of these sites and find a man. Yes, finding a decent man to cheat on is a very difficult task. I've had a lot of disappointments since then. But you just can't imagine how much it revitalizes my feelings for my husband afterwards. How much I begin to love and appreciate him if another lover does not live up to expectations. And how actively I then try to make amends when I come back to my husband fucked up like a cat. I feel so guilty, and how hard I try to make it up to him that we may not get out of bed for a week. Oh, and I have one ironclad rule: even if I meet a decent man, I don't go out with him more than 2 or 3 times.
I don't want to get attached to anyone because I love my husband.
Thank you if you listened to the end. Comment, subscribe, like, and send us your stories and your friends' stories. Bye.